Well, there's a lot happening at Hallis Hall, which means it's time for a To The Points emergency pod. And Zoom, we can't do an emergency pod by ourselves. We need more insight. We need more philosophical comments about the Chicago Bears football
That's
team.
right.
So who are you bringing in today for the emergency?
I am bringing in the future Hall of Famer, Lance Briggs, the future Hall of Famer, because it's definitely going to happen. But this is an emergency situation, like Sam said, and I'm calling in on Lance Briggs to kind of set the record straight a little bit. Lance, what's going on, my brother?
Woo! I don't know if philosophical is the way you want to go here, buddy, because it's chaos. It is chaos with the Bears organization.
Yo, Lance, let's get right into it. I mean, you're fresh off your 44th birthday, and I hate to celebrate your birthday by being so grouchy and talking about the Bears, but this is a mess. What is the biggest mess right now in your eyes?
Well, the biggest mess is there's been a rotation of coaches, and I don't want to just say it's just the Bears. There's a Jacksonville Jaguars organization that fires coaches after a few years, brings in new draft picks. It doesn't work out. They fire that coach again. Okay. The Cleveland Browns will fire a coach after 1 year, and then they bring in new draft picks. It doesn't work out. The Bears have fallen into that same category where they will fire a coach, hire a new guy, draft a guy, and it doesn't work out. And then we fire him, try to get a new guy. It's this circular rotation that has me worried more than anything else. We bring in a guy, it doesn't work. We fire him, and we think that we're going to choose the right guy for the job next. And they haven't been able to do it. So that's what concerns me more about anything that's going on right now.
So, Lance, if you were the GM right now for the Chicago Bears, what would be your next move?
Lord. Well, what has happened already, making sure, number one, that we have a confident game plan in place to have Shane Waldron removed. Okay. Can we get this done? Do you have a plan that works? Tell me what your philosophy is. Tell me what your scheme is. Tell me what your plan is going into next week. Because we're playing against our biggest rival. What's your plan of going against the Packers to make me feel confident that if I do step in here and fire Shane Waldron, that I'm confident with what we're going to go into it with? That's number one. You have this team of players. They're young, and as you know, Zoom, as well as I do, there's a window of opportunity. You have a hell of a defense here, and you have weapons on offense. You have players on offense. It's not just like you have players on defense and nothing on offense. You have stuff on offense that you can build around. So this has to be handled as such. None of this can be taken lightly, and I'm not saying they have done that. What I am saying is that the Bears have consistently, the one thing they're consistent about is making bad choices on the people that lead this organization. As far as the head coaches, and then also even in the draft picks.
You hit on some stuff that the Bears actually excel in, right? It's a loaded defense that forces a ton of takeaways. Yep. They've got the weapons. There's a lot there. So I go a little optimistic here. They have already fired Shane Waldron. Now we look forward to the rest of the season. What's the best case scenario?
Best case scenario, that they go 500 with the remaining part of the schedule, which is the toughest part of the schedule. But if they go 500, on the remaining part of the schedule, that means that they're winning against some of the toughest teams in the NFL. So that gives everybody a glimmer of hope. We might have lost to the Commanders, a few other teams, but we were able to compete and beat the Detroit Lions, who was arguably the best team in the NFC. We were able to beat the Packers. We were able to beat the Vikings. We were in the game with the Niners. Whatever. That gives everybody a glimmer of hope for moving into 2025 season.
Now, the defense is the strength of this team. But the past 2 weeks haven't been really good for the defense. What do you think the breakdown has been for that defense?
Well, if you look at this last game, they held their opponent to 19 points, and it was built off of field goals. And when you can hold a team to field goals, you give your team a chance at the end of the game. It didn't work out. But when you look at the goals that the defense was supposed to hit on, I think there were 144 yards rushing last week. We had they held them under 200 yards passing. They were good on third down, and they were able to take the ball away at least one time. They didn't hit everything, However, on the standard of what good to great defense is, they were very close. And doing that without any offensive production, without having an offense that total yards were less than our opponent's rushing yards altogether. So that says a lot about the defense. And if you're able to produce a little bit and keep that defense off the field a little, for a period of time, then I think that changes those numbers, that skews those numbers in favor of the defense.
I watched Caleb Williams get sacked like every 30 seconds, it felt like, against the Patriots. I mean, dude, that was crazy. I mean, I would look away for 1 second. Oh, there's another sack. I finally turned off the game with like 2 minutes left, and I look at my phone at the recent plays. Most recent play, sack. I'm like, are you kidding me? 38 sacks, by far the most in the NFL. I mean, you've got a defensive mind. So when you look at how the Bears are blocking, what's missing?
Well, here's the thing. Number one, he's got to get the ball. He's got to get rid of the ball. Okay. If offensive linemen, and I'm not saying we have the best offensive linemen, however, if you have time, all right, anything beyond 4 seconds is a win for the offense. So on a number of those plays, those were wins for what they call wins for the offensive line, where it was beyond 4 seconds. Beyond 4 seconds, coverage is supposed to break down. All right, so defenses are built on timing, just like offenses. So if as a corner, you're built off 4 seconds, and on 4 seconds or at 3.5, your receiver is making a break. I'm taught to break on that based off of that timing. Now, if we're not getting any pressure, I have to stay on top. I have to stay over the top because he may do a double, triple move. But if he makes that cut within that 4 second mark, I should be able to break on that ball and make a play, because a quarterback shouldn't have more than 4 seconds to throw the ball.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of issues, obviously, on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
Like you said, Caleb Williams sometimes is holding the ball and he's allowing for those sacks to happen. But I'm a big component of getting Cole Kmet, the tight end, the big target, involved. And I'm actually a big component of running the football. What are your thoughts that the Chicago Bears offense should do moving forward?
Yeah. Right. I think when you bring in weapons, okay, you bring in weapons. So you look at last year and you'll say, or the last few years, you'll say, okay, we didn't have a lot of weapons for our quarterback to throw to. Okay, we've got to fix that. Well, there's a lot of things we got to fix. We got to fix a whole lot. You know what I mean? This car is beat down and outdated. Okay. All right. We need a Tesla. Okay. We're running on fossil fuels right now.
Autopilot.
So when you bring in these weapons, one of the things that kind of bothers me is when Caleb is holding the ball, you've got Cole Kmet, you've got DJ Moore, you've got Keenan Allen, you've got Roma Dunze. There's got to be a player on that defense, or a player that you trust during the week, or that you have built up during the summer, that says, listen, I don't care if you're covered or not, I'm going to you. Like, that's how I feel about the playmakers that I have. Listen, you're going against a guy he's 5'10". All right. He's 5'9". All right. Listen, you're on a go route. I'm throwing it to you. If I get any trouble, I'm throwing it to you right now. And that's where I think that's where my biggest question mark comes for this offense is there. I don't think there's a need to hold the ball as long when you have all these weapons. Somebody is a mismatch. You can't have all these weapons and not one of them be a mismatch, where you have Cole Kmet in the middle he's got to be a mismatch with some linebacker, and Roma Dunze has to be a mismatch for some DB that he's covering or that's covering him during a game.
As always on this podcast, we must get right to the points. I know Zoom's a sucker for making some picks. So we've got a big game up ahead, right? Packers are coming to town. It feels sometimes like the sky's falling. Is it going to get worse? Let's hear a pick for Sunday.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, the Bears are in turmoil. And even if they weren't, this is a prove-it game. The Bears, they have to prove that they can beat the Packers before I pick the Bears. The only way I would pick the Bears right now over the Packers is if the Bears were on a hell of a win streak moving into it. And I'd say to hell with that stat. But right now there's a lot going on with the Bears on top of the fact that they haven't been able to prove that they can beat the Packers. So Packers win this game. Shit. And I'll say this too. This is a credit to the defense. I don't think that they win by a lot. I think that they win by a few, and I think the Bears defense holds them to another to a low. I think to a scoring low. So we're looking at somewhere. I think the Packers score right around 17, 18 points. But the Bears just don't score enough to beat them.
So would you say that the defense has to at least get a big time takeaway, or maybe even two, or a house call or something like that?
Zoom, this conversation should have been made weeks ago. The conversation where you walk into, Eberflus walks into the defense group room and says, listen, this is the situation that has been presented to us. All right. We're not saying that you guys aren't playing good to great defense, but we need more from you. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, when I walk into the offensive room, I'm going to tell them this is because we're scoring 3 to 9 points a game. All right. We need more from you, but this group, you can control what happens in this game. So we cannot, not only do we need to take the ball away, but when you get it, we have to score. All right. We have to play field position where our offense, give our offense the ball within field goal range. Like, these are the things that you guys have to do. And I know that I'm asking a lot of you, but if you can get this done, we have a chance to win.
Lance, you sound just like Lovie Smith.
Well,
and we were great at taking that ball away and putting that ball in the end zone.
Yes,
because
sir.
That's exactly what Lovie used to preach.
That's what he used to preach, and that's what needs to be preached. If you can hold the team to that many field goals, on a week by week basis, you can do more.
I hear you speaking from experience, and I think for a lot of Bears fans, hearing you speak to that, it's valuable.
It's crucial. It's crucial at this point. You have to call a spade a spade. This is who we are. It's up to this point of the season. This is who we are. Yeah. All right. We have a hell of a defense, and it'd be a damn shame to allow this window for this great defense and the guys that we have to close, waiting for our offense to score more points. Mm-hmm. When we can do it. You don't have to wait for them. Go do it yourself.
Right. Just because the mashed potatoes on the side are gloopy doesn't mean you want to lose that 5-star filet mignon on your plate. We got a filet defense. Let's use it, right?
That's right.
And eventually, your offense, they may surprise you. They may surprise you with a few scores, this week or that week, something happens. But anything on top of that is a plus, but it's not expected at this point.
Lance, I agree with you. I think that this game will be tough. Hopefully the offense can come along. I know that Thomas Brown is going to be taking over, and hopefully he sees things differently than Waldron. The playbook obviously isn't going to change much, but they can run different plays to get, Caleb and the playmakers the ball. I would like to see this offense turn more into a run-first offense. I'd like to see this offense do more of 3-step drop, get the ball out of Caleb's hands, more play action, under center play action, move the pocket around, hit Cole Kmet over the middle of the football field, easy rhythmic timing throws. And also getting the ball out of Caleb's hand, because sometimes he holds the ball too much. So I think that if he does that, they can be efficient and effective at the same time. And then also run the ball and get these big offensive linemen running. moving forward, hitting people, put a hat on a hat, and then having Swift do what he does. So I think that that's the perfect recipe going into this game plan.
It's not hard to break down at this point what defensively their tendencies are on first down, on second and third, and all these different downs and distances. Take advantage of it. If their corners play off on first down, throw the hitch to Odunze. If you get a mismatch with Komet, let him push off, create some space. If they come on and they want to press, throw the back shoulder fade, throw the 50-50 ball to Odunze. Start taking advantage of players. Take players instead of schemes, because everybody runs cover 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, mixed coverages and blitzes. Okay, everybody runs it. They run it a little different, but start taking advantage of what defenses are giving you and what the strengths of your offensive weapons are.
I pray that we see some glimmers of hope, because God, Bears fans need a glimmer of hope. And Lance Briggs, I'm not saying you've given me a glimmer of hope, but you've at least given me the window into seeing it, if that makes sense. Hey, Zoom, while we're here, you got to pick.
I'm definitely not picking the Chicago Bears, because there's really no reason for me to do that.
There's not. No.
But I think that they will play hard. I think that everybody is looking at them kind of crazy right now and looking at them like, wait a minute, we had a lot of trust and belief that you would do something, and it's not working out. So I feel like those guys in that room, they're feeling down, but at the same time, they're ultimate competitors. They're NFL players, and they have a lot of pride. And I feel like this pride will come out this Sunday, especially against the Packers. I feel like the fans are owed, a good performance, and I feel like they will give that strong performance, but I don't think it'll be enough.
I'm right with you both, and frankly, I'd be dumb not to. Here's the thing. Jordan Love throws a lot of interceptions, 10 picks in 7 games. He's also lost 3 fumbles going up against a super advantageous Bears defense. Yeah. So that's going to make the game close. This won't be a blowout, but yeah, Packers by a bit.
Yeah.
All right, Lance Briggs.
Unfortunately.
Lance Briggs, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Future Hall of Famer.
My God.
Future Hall of Famer.
All right,
thanks, Lance. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, Zoom, you want to wrap this bad boy up?
Man, this has been to the points, man. I mean, we had Lance Briggs on to really focus on what is happening in the status of the Chicago Bears right now, and then focusing on, the Green Bay Packers ahead of us on Sunday. So I don't think it's going to be good for the Bears, but hopefully they could do something positive out there.
Here's the thing. Lance gave us a blueprint, right? This is what the Bears need to do to right the ship. And if there's a blueprint for some success, it can't be that bad, right? When the sky is literally falling, there's no blueprint. So, gosh darn it, I've got a blueprint. Thank you, Lance Briggs. Zoom, why don't you send the people home?
All right, guys. Thank you, man. This has been To The Points. Myself, Sam Brief. We are signing out, and hopefully the Bears could shock the world with a win, but we'll see.